Chainsaw Man Episode 3, Meowy's Whereabouts. So this is a very power-heavy episode, which is awesome. And in this episode, we get her origin story. But yeah, so this episode takes place immediately after the previous episode, with Power having killed the sea cucumber devil. And it still makes me laugh that there's a devil based off of sea cucumbers. But yeah, so Makima is basically kind of not necessarily berating Denji and Power, but telling them that if a public safety member kills a civilian hunter's devil, they're guilty of obstructing their business, and Power would be arrested under normal circumstances. That is kind of weird. Like, you would think if some huge threat like a devil were attacking, it doesn't really matter who gets the kill, just as long as if someone kills and stops the threat. But no, just like in the real world, there's like jurisdictions and first dibs, I guess. If you call dibs on the devil and the public safety comes in and puts a stop to it, then yeah, they can be arrested. So of course, Power immediately, freaks out and starts blaming Denji and saying that he's the one that ordered me to kill the thing. And Denji, of course, is like, no, I didn't. You did that on your own. So we have a huge argument. And as the two are fighting, we get a close-up of Makima's ass for like 10 seconds. So for any of you Makima simps out there, yeah, you're going to really appreciate the first minute or so of this episode. But as she's watching the two of them argue, she tells them to stop. And Power immediately stops, and she acts kind of freaked out, like she's afraid of Makima. And as this is happening, we get a close-up of Makima's eyes. And is this some kind of foreshadowing? Why is Power, a fiend, the devil, so afraid of Makima? I wonder why. Keep that in mind for future episodes. So then we cut to Denji and Power, and they're just kind of chilling out in this alleyway, this hallway, just filled with vending machines. And Denji, of course, buys a drink and he starts drinking it. And he says, wow, like, just being able to grab a drink like this whenever I want. This is really living the dream. Like, I'll do anything to maintain this life. And you kind of see how much, just like the little things, Denji appreciates because of his upbringing. Meanwhile, Power is staring at a vending machine, completely fascinated, as if the vending machine holds the answers to all her questions. And she hears a cat meowing, and she picks it up and starts petting it. And she basically explains that cats are the only thing that she cares about. Like, they're the only company she enjoys. She hates humans. She believes that it probably has something to do with her devil background. And she says she also hates devils too because one of them took her pet Meowy away. And she was trying to recover Meowy when Makima caught her. And she believes that Meowy might be dead already, but she's not going to give up any hope. She says if it'll allow her to save Meowy, she's willing to do whatever it takes, including listening to humans and following their orders. And she basically asks Denji if he can relate. And Denji laughs and he says, no, like all that for a cat? I don't understand that. But then he says, well, maybe I think I'd get it if it was a dog or something. And then he also suggests, maybe if it was like, if I got to touch some boobs, maybe I would, understand. And that's when Power comes up with this idea. If you help me save Meowy, then I will let you fondle my breasts. And something seems to awaken in Denji. And he basically rushes to Power, and he basically says, like, that's terrible. I can't believe someone would do that to a cat. We got to kill this devil at any cost. It's our job as devil hunters. Basically, he comes up with this like huge speech to make himself seem like some kind of gentleman, but he really just wants to fondle Power's tits. So Denji goes and he gets approval from public safety to be able to take Power out for a while, because Power is not allowed to go anywhere without accompanying a human, without having some kind of order signed. So he's able to get that. And then they travel out into the wilderness where Power believes that her cat is being held hostage. Meanwhile, we get this story where Denji says, I don't think I can ever get along with Power. It's kind of funny saying that after reading the entire manga. But we also get just a flashback of Denji as a kid with Pochka, and like how he would feel if a devil had taken Pochka. And he even talks about this moment where he woke up one night and Pochka was gone, and he was scared that maybe a devil had gotten him. So Denji rushes out into the woods trying to find Pochka, and then he eventually comes back to the little shed, and Pochka is there crying, and Denji holds him as he falls asleep. And yeah, so we see that Denji's kind of starting to have a little bit of a connection with Power in regards to Meowy. Like he can kind of understand what she's going through. Then we have Makima just being Makima, and yeah, this anime really captures the underlying terror behind Makima. Like just the way that she is, like how she's super quiet, how when she talks it's very soft spoken, how when she's not talking she just stares straight ahead with like dead eyes. And yeah, let me just say that there's a reason for all this. I'm not going to spoil it, but there's a reason why you might seem a little unnerved by Makima. But later on, she's in a car with Aki. He's driving her somewhere. And that's when we kind of get the series explaining the power levels behind devils. So basically, the more fear an item or a thing has, the more powerful the devil is. So basically, every devil is born with a name. And the more that name is feared, like for example, a coffee devil. Not that many people are scared of coffees. So if a coffee devil were to exist, it would probably be super weak because there's not that many people out there that fear coffees. However, cars, there might be a lot of people who fear cars. A lot of people who might fear being hit by a car, being run over, the damage it can do. So a car devil would probably be a lot more stronger than a coffee devil. And so that's how this works. The more fearful something is, the more powerful it is. So there you go. There's your whole power level thing. Power takes Denji out to this isolated house in the middle of nowhere. And as Denji and them are getting closer, Denji's like, wait a minute. Didn't you say that if you got close to the house, the devil would sense you and would eat your cat? And Power says, oh, I did say that, didn't I? I guess I misspoke. And I like this real moment where Denji immediately senses something's wrong, and he doesn't even hesitate. He swings his axe at Power. So it's the whole like Han shot first. Denji, his backstory, the way he grew up, it's like he has just a no-nonsense approach to things. If something is a threat to him, he just immediately attacks it. So immediately when Power says, I misspoke, he realizes she tricked me. And he swings his axe at her, going for the kill. Power's unfortunately faster, and she's able to knock Denji out, and she drags his unconscious body into the house. He wakes up. We see the devil that had kidnapped her cat. It's a bat devil. Yeah, basically, Power's like, here, I found a human for you to feed on. Now give me my cat. And yeah, it's revealed that Power had to deal with the bat devil. The bat devil is injured. It's missing one of its arms. And it kidnapped the cat, and it forced Power to go find a human to bring back for him to eat so that it can heal itself and like respawn its arm. And in return, he will give Power Meowy back. And then we get like a flashback where we see Power. I'm assuming this is like around when she's like first coming into the world or something. She's like disheveled, dirty, naked. So we get a lot of naked Power in this. And she's like killing cows and boars and other animals and feeding on their blood. And as she's eating one of her recent kills, we see Meowy show up. And Meowy is basically nothing but skin and bones. And Power's like, you know, you're a... She kind of taunts Meowy. Like, she's like, man, look at you. You're just a scrawny little thing. And she grabs Meowy and holds it up. And she's like, well, there's probably no reason for me to eat you now. But maybe after I fatten you up. And so we get montages of Power feeding cow milk to Meowy, and Meowy getting healthier and healthier until Meowy is basically completely healthy. And Power is just chilling out on the rooftop, watching the stars, Meowy on her chest. And we get, like, the music in this is really good. I wish I could share, like, a sample of it, but I'd probably hit a copyright strike if I did. But, yeah, the music for this series has been freaking phenomenal. And as she's staring at the sky, she basically tells Meowy that she's killed everything she's ever met, and she's killed everything that ever looked her in the eyes. And Meowy is the only one that's looked her in the eyes and has never screamed. And how, like, it's kind of nice to be able to have something not screaming every time it sees her. And so, at this point in time, Power has pretty much already fallen in love with this cat, and she's not going to do anything to harm it. And that's when the Bat Devil shows up, grabs Meowy, and basically tells her, like, if you want Meowy, get me some human blood. We cut back to the present. Devil grabs Denji, squeezes him, causing him to spurt blood out of his mouth. The Bat Devil drinks it, regrows his arm, but then says that Denji's blood is disgusting, and he throws Denji, and he says, like, I need a palate cleanser. I think I'm gonna go out into the city, and I'm gonna feast on a virgin. Maybe I'll go after a grown adult later. Basically, he's going to go and he's going to start eating a bunch of innocent people. When, of course, Power says, hey, we had a deal. And the Bat Devil's like, we did, but because you gave me nasty blood, I think I'm going to have to clean out my mouth with something even better. So it grabs Meowy, who's inside a cage, and swallows it whole. And, of course, this just breaks Power mentally. She just kind of stands there. And she turns to Denji and she says, I think I finally understand what it feels like when you can no longer have a pet. When you can no longer pet your loved one. Because earlier, Denji says that he had a pet, Pushka, and now Pushka's gone. And he's no longer able to ever pet Pushka again, but Pushka lives on in his heart. And Denji's referred to the fact that Pushka literally lives in his heart because Pushka's heart is beating inside Denji's chest. Power thinks this is just like a human thing, like, oh, he's going to be living in your heart, as in, like, your memories and stuff like that. And she kind of mocks him for that. But now she says, I finally understand what it means. And she just stands there, and she allows the Bat Devil to grab her and eat her. And then Denji grabs onto the Bat Devil as it flies off to go eat some civilians. And then that's when we get, like, a cool battle scene. And it's just awesome. Denji's able to knock the Bat. Denji's, like, holding onto the Bat Devil. The Bat Devil notices him, and Denji's like, give me back my tits. And then Denji transforms into Chainsaw Man, slices him down to the point where, like, you know, his wing is kind of cut off. He can't fly anymore, so he falls to the city. And then we just get an awesome fight scene. I'll say this is probably the best fight scene yet. I said that the first fight scene in the first episode was good, and that, you know, just like the way it's drawn. Even though it was CGI, it still felt like very phonetic and just... It was great. This is even better. Like, I don't know if maybe they, as they're going along, maybe they're just getting more and more used to how to animate the CGI or something. I don't know. But this fight scene was awesome. It was very fluid. The one worry I always had about Chainsaw Man was when it was announced that it was going to be CGI. And I was like, oh, man. I don't know how you can do Chainsaw Man CGI because... Chainsaw Man has a lot of cool action scenes, and CGI action scenes in regards to anime aren't usually the best. It feels too staticky, if that makes any sense. It feels off. But here they freaking nailed it. Like, everything has, like, motion. There are times where, like, they exaggerate certain proportions to give, like, power and speed. It's great. Fight scene's fantastic, and we see more of Denji's personality coming through into the fight scene, where we have a moment where, like, Denji's telling the humans to, you know, what the hell are you doing? Get the hell out of here, unless you want to die. And so the Bat Devil is realizing that Denji is trying to protect the humans. So he's like, well, how about you try to protect this one? And he grabs a car with the person inside, and he throws the car at Denji, and Denji grabs the car. And he's like, What, you think I give a shit about some dude? And he chucks the car back at the Bat Devil. The dude, luckily for him, dives out of the car as the car is sailing towards the Bat Devil, because the car hits the Bat Devil in the face, explodes, catches the Bat Devil's face on fire, and Denji like rushes that, towards him and just slices his guts open, and that's how the episode ends. But yeah, this very much reminds me of a moment from part 2. I'm not going to get too much into detail, but anyone who's read part 2, you know exactly what I'm talking about when it comes to devils trying to use vehicles filled with innocent humans to stop or slow Denji down. Denji does not care. And that's just what makes him kind of awesome. It's just like, this is a dude that he has his priorities. He just cares about women and tits. And that's kind of it. I guess kids too, because he helps a kid earlier. But other than that, like, he's not going to risk his life to save a dude. He doesn't care. But if it was a beautiful girl, he would. But yeah, also we just got like a cool visual as well where Denji gets kind of like blown back and his shirt rips, and so his shirt kind of becomes like a flowing cape. It almost looks like, which just gives it like an added cool effect when Denji is like charging at this Bat Devil. But yeah, Denji slices it open. That's how it ends. It was fantastic. I think this was probably the best episode so far, because not only did we get a Power focused episode in her backstory. And for anyone who doesn't know, Power is my favorite character in this series. She's awesome. She's the best girl. But we also got an awesome fight scene. The best fight scene, I would say, so far. This series has just been super fantastic so far. I love it. I believe this episode covers... how many? 4 chapters again? So yeah, well, 3.5. Which seems to kind of be the thing now. Because I think the previous one also did 3.5. So 3.5, if it stays with that, if it stays being 3.5, we got 12 issues. They need to get 97. I can't see them covering all of part 1 within 12 episodes. I'm assuming they're probably gonna get halfway through, maybe. So I would say maybe Chainsaw Man season 1 and 2 would cover part 1. I don't know. I guess we'll find out. Hopefully, it might even be more. Maybe 3 seasons to cover part 1. Because I don't want this to be rushed. So far, the pacing has been good. This series has been awesome. They've cut some things out, but the things that they've cut out is fine. Like, it's not gonna harm the story overall. Like, I kind of mentioned how they cut off the fight with the muscle devil, and why I said that I would have liked if they kept it in. The fact that they took it out, it doesn't harm the story in any way. It's one of those things where it would have just given you another fight scene to enjoy. But other than that, it's fine. In fact, maybe thinking about it now, maybe it was a better idea because it kept the flow of the story going. Because the story kind of stalled a little bit to tackle the muscle devil in the manga. Whereas here, we just go straight from Makima picking up Denji to Makima taking him to the public safety headquarters. So yeah, so far, like, the little things that they've cut out have been good. Hopefully the flow stays the same, because that's the only thing I say that could harm this series. The animation has been fantastic. The visuals are great. The voice acting is phenomenal. The person they got to play Power is great. Denji is great. Makima really nails down the like that just unnerving presence that Makima carries. The music for this has been great. Like, not just the opening and the end themes, but even like the flashback with Power was very powerful. Like, and the fight scene music is really great. Like, everything for this series has been awesome. I think the only thing that can ruin it now would be the pacing. And so far the pacing has been great. So please don't rush this. Don't try to put all of part 1 into the first 12 episodes. I don't think that there's enough. I don't think 12 is enough to cover all of part 1 of the manga. So as long as if the pacing remains, good, I think this is going to be a fantastic anime series. Like I said, the only possible negative could be the pacing, and so far it's been awesome. So yeah, I got no complaints about this series. This series has been fantastic. Best anime out right now, I would say. But there you go. Anyways, what do you guys think? Hope you enjoyed. And I hope to see you next time. Take care, everybody. Later.